And take a couple deep breaths to really just settle in. Let the arms come down by the sides. Bring those shoulder blades in towards each other. Shoulders relax towards the ground. Bend those knees, open the feet up nice and wide. Just take a moment to settle in. Allow your entire back body to feel nice and flush, supported by the ground, the mat. Relax the jaw and the eyebrows. And begin to tune into the breath and just notice how the breath is moving through the body this morning. Does it feel nice and deep, or is it more shallow? Notice where in your body you feel your breath the most. Is it in the ribs, the chest, the belly? And just take a moment to check in. Notice the thoughts, the feelings, the sensation. Where are you at today? How are you this morning? And just be with whatever information you receive without needing to change it or fix it. Breathe into whatever your truth is today. Eventually, you'll begin to deepen the breath. Expand the belly up towards the ceiling on the inhale. And on the exhale, try to empty the body of all the air, drawing the belly button towards the spine. Inhale, belly expands. Entire torso fills with air. And exhale, empty. One more breath like that. Deep inhale. Fill up the torso, especially the belly. And exhale. Empty it all the way out. Keep pushing that exhale out, emptying the body. Take a moment to set an intention for your practice today. Maybe you want to use each pose as an intention to let go, release, to ignite something. But move through your yoga practice today, maybe with conscious thought about why you stretch into the body, what you might be releasing, igniting, or strengthening. Open up those feet nice and wide. Let the outer edges of the feet or the whole foot touch the ground, wider than the mat. The arms can be out by the sides, out in a T, or in cactus arms, whatever feels good for you, so that the chest is nice and open. And you're just going to allow the knees to drop over to the right. Maybe look over the left shoulder. Give yourself a full twist here. Inhale, both knees will come up, and exhale over to the left. Maybe looking over the right shoulder. Breathe, focusing on really long exhales. Inhale, knees will come up. Exhale over to the right. One more time. If you want to place your right foot on that left thigh to deepen the stretch, you can. Just an option. So just see what you need. One more complete breath. Eventually you'll remove that right foot. Both knees will come back up to the center. And exhale over to the left. This time taking that left foot up on top of the right thigh. Breathe. Good, one more breath. Releasing that left foot down, bringing both knees back up to center. Walk those feet in. Hug both knees into the chest. Do a little rock from side to side. Beautiful. Keep those knees hugged into the chest. Allow yourself to draw the low back to the floor. So really anchor down, nice and flat in the sacrum and the low back. Take your hands onto the knees, open the knees up a little bit, and just begin to draw circles independently. So almost like frog legs, you want to open up through the hips. Moving with the breath. Letting your breath guide you and how fast or how slow these circles are. You're in control of how big the circles are and how much rotation you're feeling in the hip. Close the eyes. Feel this pose. How good it might feel to just open up through the hips like this. Good. Go ahead and move through the ankles. Make some circles with those feet. Make sure you go in both directions. Awesome. Bring those feet back down onto the ground. Knees are bent. Take your right foot, cross it over that left thigh. Go ahead and anchor down through the back body. So the low back, the sacrum really presses into the ground. Back of the hips are nice and connected to the ground as well. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, lift that left leg up, flex the left foot. Give yourself a nice 90-degree angle. Maybe grab behind that left thigh. If this is a bit tight for you today, you can actually take your strap and bring it behind that thigh as well. So however you need to get there, just get there and make sure your shoulders can stay relaxed. I'm actually going to use the strap just to demonstrate how nice and relaxed the shoulders can stay when you place that strap behind the thigh. Flex the left foot. Nice deep inhale. Square those hips off. Make sure you feel nice and level in the hips. Maybe draw that right knee open a little bit. Good. Deep inhale, belly rises up. And on the exhale, hug that left knee in a little closer. So now you're going to feel this a little bit deeper, hopefully, in the glute, that right glute. Keep the low back, the sacrum connected to the ground. And breathe. Feel a nice fold in the hip crease. One more complete breath. Good. Go ahead and release that strap. And you're just going to straighten the left leg all the way up. Maybe you want to stay grabbed behind that left thigh. Maybe you don't. Depends on you. If you want to work your core a bit more and just engage through that left leg, you can do that. If you want to work on a little bit of strengthening, maybe bring the hands down by your sides with the palms facing down. Make sure you stay flexed through that left foot because it's going to give you that stretch in the hamstring at the same time. Breathe if you're doing this. It might be a little bit challenging to find the breath because you are working. Otherwise, you can grab behind that thigh. And this will give you a bit of a deeper stretch that you might be able to relax into a little bit more. Just options, whatever you need, listen to your body. 2 more complete breaths. Good. Go ahead and bend that left knee, place that foot on the floor. And we're going to switch. Take your time, bring that right foot onto the ground. Left foot crosses over that right thigh. Awesome. Go ahead and relax that back body. Keep those hips, that low back, that sacrum connected to the ground. And when you're ready, you'll inhale, lift that right foot off the ground, flex that foot. Give yourself a 90-degree angle in that leg, maybe grab behind the thigh, or bring that strap behind the thigh. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Chest is open. Good, and take about 3 complete breaths here. Deep inhales. On the exhale, maybe you hug that right knee in a little closer. Good, 1 more breath. Hugging that knee in. And slowly beginning to straighten this right leg, flexing that right foot, pointing the heel to the ceiling. And finding where you want to be. Maybe you want to grab behind the thigh, maybe you don't. Totally up to you. Breathe. Good, 1 more breath. Don't be afraid to hear the breath either. Bend that right knee, place that foot on the floor. Undo this left foot. Bring the soles of the feet together and just drop the hips open. Now for this pose, I want you to see if you can really drop into the hips here and don't use any support under the legs. The only time I would ask you to use that support would be if you really want to completely relax, but since it's the beginning of class, I want you to just see how much tension you might be holding in the hips and just tune in with that. We're not doing this one as a restorative type pose right now. Maybe we will at the end. But for now, just get in touch with that tension that might still be held there, with that tightness, that control that you might still be trying to hold in the hips, and just see if you can breathe, exhale, and release and let go a little bit in the hips here. Relax the jaw. Your arms can come above the head, maybe grab opposite elbows, or just rest above the head so the chest is nice and open. Just breathe here, opening up the entire front body. And filling the entire body with air on the inhale. Exhaling completely, relaxing the jaw, the eyebrows. Good. When you're ready, you'll take those hands underneath the legs, closing the knees. Hug both knees into the chest, maybe rock a little bit to the right and the left. And then you'll grab your strap. Bring both feet up into the strap. So just seeing what the hamstrings feel like here. I want you to flex both feet. Imagine that the legs are one unit. You're really going to bring them together. Hang out here. Your hands can wrap around the strap. The arms can just kind of chill and hang. Getting a nice drain for the lymph, some movement, some circulation for the body. And breathe. Another breath or two. You'll slowly remove that left foot. Bring that foot onto the ground with the knee bent. The strap is going to hopefully lay right underneath the ball of the foot, almost to the middle of the foot. Keep that right foot flexed, heel pointing towards the ceiling. Breathe. Saying hi to that hamstring. And giving yourself a moment here to really isolate just the heel. Flex those toes towards the face. Really feel that in the calf, all the way down the hamstring. Keep the low back, the hips are connected to the ground. But isolate that heel and just turn it. Stay engaged in the leg with that foot flexed. Just turn it to the left, just the heel. Come back to center. Go ahead and turn it to the right a little bit. Noticing what you feel down the entire leg. Maybe you start to feel it shift and the stretch is moving to the outer leg or the inner leg hamstring a little bit more. Come back to center, over to the right again. Just exploring with this a little bit. Releasing any of that stuff we might be holding in the hips. Good. Come back to center. You'll slowly straighten out that left leg. Flex the left foot. So that left leg is nice and active. Now you're going to go ahead and exhale. Bend this knee into the chest. Keep that heel pointing to the ceiling. Open up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Moving with that breath. Inhale, extend, keeping that left leg engaged, left foot is flexed. Good. Exhale, bend. Inhale, extend. Exhale. And inhale. Go ahead and take both pieces of your strap. You're going to move them into your left hand. Right hand will come onto your right hip. Flex both feet here. Imagine drawing those hips in towards each other, and imagine you're trying to get that right sits bone to the floor. Squeeze the inner thighs a little bit, and let this right leg come over to maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. Hopefully feeling your IT band down the side of the leg. Keep rolling the right hip to the ground. Maybe taking your hand there, helping it manually roll to the ground. Breathe. And just being with the sensation, I know you're working a bit here to hold these legs up, flex the feet. You're using your core. Just notice everywhere you feel this pose. Chest is nice and open, shoulders are on the ground. Good. 2 or 3 more breaths. Relaxing the jaw. Being with all the sensation. Any of the feeling that might come with this pose. Good. Eventually, you're going to let that leg come all the way over to the left, drop it down, relax it onto the ground or a block or a bolster. And breathe. Chest is nice and open. A nice deep twist. And think about this right hip pressing away from the belly. Creating some space there. Left leg is nice and straight, like an extension of the spine. Good. One more breath. On your next inhale, this leg will come all the way back up, roll onto the back. Both pieces of the strap into your right hand and just open this leg all the way to the right. Just giving it the opposite, opening up, noticing what that feels like, and seeing if you can find that nice level feeling between the hips. Maybe you need to adjust the hips a little bit. Maybe the left hip needs to roll down. Just try to find the level, nice flat space in between the hips, and just breathe. Jaws relaxed. If you want to begin to draw this leg up a little bit higher, you can if you want a bit of a deeper stretch. Try not to push and pull too much. Listen to the body. Good, one more breath. This right leg will come all the way down. Relax for a moment. Maybe bring those hands down by the sides, palm facing up. Just observe the right side. Good. When you're ready, you'll bend both knees. Take that left leg up. Put the strap just below the ball of the foot here. All right, so getting into the hamstring here, maybe wrap those hands around the strap. Right knee is bent for now. Left foot flexes, heel presses towards the ceiling. And feel what the hamstring is like on this side. Breathe. Low back and sacrum are connected and anchored into the ground. Point those toes towards the face. Heel towards the ceiling. Just make sure you're not locking that leg out. You can straighten it. Just leave a little micro bend in the knee. Breathe. And then begin to isolate that heel. So we'll turn the heel over to the right. And your entire leg should move with this. And hopefully you're feeling this release up at the hip socket. Go ahead and move it over to the left. It's a very, very small movement, but when done properly, can release so much in the hips. So much we might be carrying there. And it shifts the hips out of that rigid, straightforward backward movement that we do all day when we walk. This just gives it a little bit more of a release. Keep turning from left to right. Good. And coming back to center, straightening that right leg out, flexing the right foot. Good. So you'll go ahead and eventually you'll exhale, bend this left knee into the chest. You guys know the deal. Bend it in, keep that heel pressing up to the ceiling. Inhale, extend. Straighten the leg. Right foot is flexed, leg is engaged. Exhale, bend. Heel points up. Inhale, extend. 2 more. Exhale, bend. Inhale, extend. Last one. Exhale. And inhale. Good. Eventually, you're going to take both pieces of the strap and take them into your right hand, left hand on the left hip. Flex both feet, engage both legs. Draw this left hip, left sits bone towards the ground. Scissor and squeeze the inner thighs. And then allow that leg to come over to maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. Feel where you need to be. Maybe you need to draw up on the strap a little bit, but continue to roll that left hip to the ground and breathe. This is one of those poses that you kind of love to hate because it really just gets into that IT band in a way that we just never do throughout the day. Breathe, relax the jaw, keep the chest open. Shoulders are relaxed as much as they can be. Eyebrows are relaxed. Jaw is relaxed. Breathe. About 2 more complete breaths. And even though you're working, maybe a little bit harder than you want to be in this pose to hold the leg here and roll that left hip to the ground. See if you can find a nice even breath. I know it's easier said than done. But becoming well adapted to holding the body in a way that you're still able to breathe and engage and be uncomfortable. Eventually, this leg will come all the way down over to the right. Relax it on the floor, a block, a bolster. Keeping that chest facing the ceiling if you can. Nice deep twist. Right leg is straight. Left hip draws away from the belly, the ribs. Creating some space here on the left side body. Good. 1 more breath. On your next inhale, bring this left leg all the way up. Take both pieces of the strap into your left hand and open this left leg all the way to the left now. Relax it on the floor. Right foot is flexed. And just notice if you can find this nice, even, flat space in between the hips here. Once you have that nice, even space between the hips, that's what you can draw up on the strap to give yourself a little bit of a deeper stretch. Breathe. One more breath. You'll release that strap, let that left leg come all the way down to meet the right. Windshield wiper through those feet. Rock it out a little bit. And take a moment to pigeon toe the feet and point those big toes towards each other. Just a little internal rotation of the hips. Breathe. Good, and then hold. One more breath, and then drop the feet open. Eventually, you're going to bend those knees, hug the knees into the chest, rock a little bit to the left and right. Rock a little bit forward and backward if that feels good for your spine. And then eventually you'll come up, we'll all meet in a tabletop position. Get a little sip of water if you need it. All right, great. So from tabletop, you're gonna take those hands underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, exhale, round the back. Chin to chest. Create some flexion of the spine. Be as dramatic as you want to be here, like a scared Halloween cat. Drop the belly, look up. Squeeze the shoulder blades in. Draw the chest through the arms. Good, exhale, round. Chin to chest. Inhale. Drop the belly, look up. Good, moving with the breath. A few more times. Dropping the belly, looking up. Beautiful. Now go ahead and take a moment. You're going to open the knees up nice and wide. Let the big toes touch. And just press back for a child's pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Reconnect with your intention. Maybe the third eye, forehead comes to the mat. Spread the fingers really wide and reach the fingertips away from you. Like you're trying to reach towards a wall out in front of you if there is one there. Or maybe out to an open space. Really reach. Stretch the fascia and the back body. Feel that warmth. Maybe a little rocking from left to right in the shoulders. Maybe a little rocking in the hips as well. Making sure the hips are back towards the heels. Just moving really fluidly and organically with the body today and what you might need. Rocking the body into a state of peace. It's really powerful. So you're going to go ahead and grab your blanket, have that close by. Grab your strap, have that close by as well. And we're going to go ahead and come into the shoulders. And we're going to take our time. So I want to give you an option here because I know that I do this a lot with the blocks for the shoulders and chest because it's such a yummy pose and such a deep stretch for the chest and shoulders. But today I want to explore with a little bit of a higher level with the blocks. Usually we do it at the lowest level. But today, maybe think about bringing it up to the second level. Open the blocks up a little wider than shoulder width apart. For those of you who haven't done this before, don't worry, I'm walking you through it. If you've never done this before, you're going to bring it onto the low level, unless you know that your body can do this. We'll explore with you here, though. Once you have that on the second level, you'll bring those forearms onto the blocks. You'll bring those knees behind the hips, and as you walk the knees back, the chest will begin to drop towards the floor. Now this is going to be a lot more in the chest and the shoulders. So if it's too much, come up onto the toes. If it's too much, listen to that and bring it down to the lower level. This is only the second level. There's another one. It goes up higher. So again, just honoring this space for your chest, your shoulders. Again, you can do it on the lowest height. So it's like puppy pose, but we have raised the arms up, the forearms up a little higher so that it really just gets into those shoulders and that chest. Even the side body a little bit. So notice everywhere that you feel this. And breathe. Breathe, and if you choose to, let go of and release anything in the heart space that's no longer serving you. Heart chakra stuff. So just be with the sensation. One more complete breath. Eventually, you'll begin to come back up. Take a moment, come into a kneeling position. I don't know about you guys, but that was intense for my shoulders. Intense. Go ahead and hug yourself. Stack those shoulders one on top of the other. A little rock from side to side. Just kind of closing it down for a second. Maybe some circles in the neck. Good. Then you'll switch the way that the arms are crossed, so stack the shoulders the opposite way. And it all depends on where we're at that day, right? So one day we could drop into that pose and it would be nothing. We're open in the heart space that day, or we're open in the shoulders and chest, not holding tension. Go ahead and bring the left hand down, right arm begins to make circles. But then there are days where we're holding stuff, and this is how our physical body can tell us what's going on if we don't know. We don't take the time. Switch the direction, go the other way. Sometimes we already know. Other times our physical body can give us hints about what's going on internally, emotionally, on a cellular level. Right hand comes onto the floor, left hand reaches up, big circles. Just shaking it out, rolling it out, right? Keeping that fluid movement. Switch the direction, go the other way. Good. Now from here, you're going to stay in this kneeling position. Hopefully this is okay for your knees. If it's not, you can come into a seated position. I think all of you are okay in this one though. But if you need to, you can come into a seated position. We're going to focus a little bit more on the chest and the hips for a second. So you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders and try to bring your hands flat, maybe the fingertips face out. Whatever feels good for your shoulder blades. The fingertips can also face in. This is like internal rotation for those shoulders. Totally up to you. And notice that you're probably feeling a lot in the tops of the feet right now. That's okay. You want that. Good. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then you're just going to inhale and press the hips up, drop the head back. Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good. Slowly come down. Walk those hands back up. And we're going to close it down. So keep the knees together. Maybe you want to block under the third eye just to support the head. But giving yourself a nice deep fold at the hip crease, belly comes onto the thighs. Oh, breathe. Release the back body. Hopefully feeling a nice stretch in that low back. If you want more, just reach those fingertips out. Maybe come up onto the fingertips even. And press those hips back towards the heels. Another breath or two. Good. Slowly, you'll remove that block. You're going to remove that blanket and come into a comfortable seated position. We're going to do a little rolling through the shoulders and the neck to release any tension we might be holding there as well. So come into whatever comfortable seated position feels good for you, and then switch it. So switch the way that the legs are crossed and be in your uncomfortable seated position. Relax those hands on the knees. Sit the spine up nice and tall. Take a moment to just sit back a bit. Imagine that there's a wall behind you. Just kind of sit into the sits bones, back into the present moment. Notice how that feels as opposed to maybe leaning forward. Reconnect with your intention. Good. Keep those hands on the knees. Inhale. Bring those shoulders up towards the ear. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And exhale, release down. Just squeezing through the shoulders. Inhale. Up. Squeeze the shoulder blades. And exhale down. Maybe face the palms up to release. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze. And release. 1 more. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Exhale, release. Face the palms up. Good. Take a moment with the palms facing up and tuck your elbows really close into the side. So I want you to engage the arms here, kind of wrapping those shoulder blades down the back body, engaging the low back, middle back to sit the spine up really tall. You feel that action? Good. Just breathe and hold. Sit the spine up. Good. Go ahead and release. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Palms will come to prayer. Exhale, bring them down to the heart center. A few more times. Inhale. Palms to prayer. Exhale, down to the heart center. 2 more. All the way up. Reach up. Palms to prayer. Exhale, down to the heart. 1 last one. Palms come to prayer. Exhale, down to the heart. Close the eyes. Drop the chin towards the chest. Keep the spine nice and tall. And bow to whatever it is in you today. That was your intention. That is your intention as you move, as you breathe. Release the hands, but keep the chin tucked towards the chest and rock the head a little over to the left ear towards that left shoulder. And then right ear towards the right shoulder. Just loosening up the neck. Spine stays really tall, shoulders stay relaxed. I like to do this rocking motion. It's really nice to just release. If you choose to hold it on one side and breathe, you can. You can also begin to draw full circles with the head if that feels good for your body. Either way, just loosening up any tension. Envisioning it melting down and out of the neck. Make sure you go in both directions with your circles if you're doing full circles. Eventually, the chin will come back down towards the chest. Bring those fingertips underneath the chin, lift the head back up onto the shoulders. Go ahead and look over to the right. Back to center, over to the left. Back to center. Go ahead and switch the way that your legs are crossed. Bring your blocks with you for this next pose, and you're just going to walk your hands forward. Now, you may or may not need your blocks. See if you can walk your hands forward and press the sits bones down. So I really want you to feel this opening happening in the hips and the low back area. If you need your blocks, you can use them. But this is going to give you a bit more of a stretch for the shoulders and the chest as well. So do what you can. If that means bringing your hands down in front of you, forearms on the ground, and rolling the sits bones towards the ground, go ahead and try that. See what that feels like. Does that give you a release in your back body? Maybe you got to bring the forehead down. And once you're there, keep those sits bones connected to the ground. Just walk the hands over to the right. Stretch that side body. Breathe. Come back to center. Exhale over to the left. Sits bones stay on the ground. Opening through the right side body. You might feel this all the way down, the low back even. Come back to center. Take one more moment. Press and roll those sits bones towards the ground. Release the head and neck by shaking the head yes and no. Good. Slowly walk those hands up. Bring your hands behind you, face the fingertips out. And we're just going to open up, blast open the entire front body. So when you're ready, make sure the hands are underneath your shoulders. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. Hands under the shoulders. Inhale, lift, roll up onto the knees, the shins, open the chest, the hips, drop the head back. It's been a minute since we've done this one. Notice what that feels like. Slowly exhale, come down. You can take a moment and close it down if you need to. Just breathe. Eventually you'll roll yourself over, come onto the knees. We are going to come into pigeon pose today. So make sure you have a blanket and a block, whatever you think you might need for pigeon pose. Hopefully I'm going to get all of you into it in a way that works for you. But you all have done this pose, so you know this pose. So just listen to your body. All right. The way that I get into it, I come up into a nice, easy downward facing dog. Maybe walk the legs out first. Then one knee at a time, press the opposite heel down. Good. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring this right knee right behind that right hand. Place it down. Left foot, hopefully behind that left hand. And then you'll drop into the hips a little deeper so that left leg will get nice and straight. Now, if your hip is really high up on this right side, depending on how high it is, maybe you need a block underneath to help support, maybe. Or maybe you need a blanket. But either way, I want you to feel as level as possible in these hips. So make sure one hip isn't up higher than the other. You can also just sit into it. If you know this is one that you do pretty regularly, or you know where you want to be, maybe it's a little tight today because we haven't done it in a while, you can bring the blocks under the forearms and just sink into it. So again, options, finding and listening to what your body needs. Every body is different, and each day our bodies are different. So just kind of honoring where we are. It's the same with our emotions and our thoughts. Each day is different. But each day we need to honor exactly where we're at, so that we bring a sense of peace and wholeness into our being. Drop into that right hip. Left leg is nice and straight. You want to come down lower and maybe remove the blocks, you can. Really just opening up through the hips. Have 2 more complete breaths. Slowly come up onto the hands. Maybe give yourself a little bit of a back bend. Draw the chest through the arms, shoulders away from the ears. Wrap those shoulder blades down. And exhale. Come up onto those left toes. And slowly bring that right leg back. Ooh, maybe shake it out. Maybe walk it out. Just doing whatever feels good. Good. When you're ready, this left leg is going to lift. We'll do the other side. The left knee comes behind that left hand. And then that foot hopefully lines up behind that right hand. Right leg is nice and straight. I'm cracking and popping everywhere today with this one. All right leg is nice, as straight as it can be. Take those blocks and know that sides are probably going to be different, so you may need to prop this side up when you didn't on the other. Just notice if you're up a little high in that left hip, give it a little bit of support, just like you did on the other side. All right, finding where you want to be and then breathing. Trying to settle into stillness as best you can in this pose. Relax the jaw. And just being with all the sensation. Being with the stillness in the body. Maybe there's stillness in the mind, or maybe there isn't. Being with whatever is. A couple more breaths, maybe coming a little lower if you want. Eventually you'll come up onto those hands. Give yourself a little bit of a back bend here, again, and draw those elbows in. Again, engage. Shoulders away from the ears. Shoulder blades towards each other. Maybe look up. Chest comes through the arms. Good. Eventually you'll come up onto those right toes. Left leg will come back. Downward facing dog. Walk the legs out. Spread those fingers wide. Give yourself a nice downward facing dog. Good. And eventually you'll come back onto your knees into a tabletop. We're going to stretch into the wrists. So bring those hands under the shoulders, knees underneath those hips. Right fingertips are going to face towards that right knee. Left fingertips are going to face towards the left knee. Now, if you haven't done this in a while and this is a bit intense, you can do one at a time. The palm is facing down, round through the back a little bit. And know that the further away your knees are from your fingertips, the deeper stretch you're going to get. So you're in control. I like to round through the back, engage the core a little bit. Sway from side to side, distribute the weight. Send breath to the wrists, to the forearms. You can even release the neck here. Shake the head yes and no. Two more complete breaths. Slowly come off that right hand. Slowly come off the left. And we're going to switch. Right hand, palm faces up with the fingertips towards the knee. Left hand, palm faces up with the fingertips towards the knee. Now take your time here. Again, the further away the knees are, deeper stretch you're going to get. Maybe round through the back. Spread those fingers really wide. Try to make a fist, open and close, open and close. Couple more breaths. Finding your breath even though it might be a bit uncomfortable. Can you breathe through the uncomfortability? Can you find a nice even breath? Good. Eventually you'll slowly come off that right hand. You'll slowly come off the left. And you'll shake it out. A little wave if you need it. Just do what feels good. All right. Eventually we'll come back into a tabletop. We're going to go for thread the needle. So bring those hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Inhale, reach that right arm all the way up. Stack those shoulders if you can. Exhale, right arm comes underneath the left. Come onto the right shoulder, right side of the face. Just breathing, hanging out here. Giving the heart a break, flushing all the organs. It's a little bit of an inversion. So how can you see things from a different perspective? If you need that shift, this gentle inversion can help you see that if you want to. Calms the mind. Slow down the breath. Lift that left leg if you want to challenge your balance. Couple more breaths. Eventually, you'll bring that left hand back down. Left leg will come down, press into that hand. Bring yourself back up to a tabletop, a little cat-cow if you need it. All right, and this time left arm reaches all the way up. Stack the shoulders, a little bit of a twist. Left arm underneath the right. Come on to the left side of the face. Left shoulder. Relax. Breathe. Find that different perspective if you need it. Maybe lift the right leg if you've lifted the leg on the other side. Just balance that out on both sides. Good, 2 more breaths. Nice deep breaths. Thinking about the exhale being longer than the inhale. Eventually you'll bring that right hand back down. You'll press yourself back up. Right leg will come down and into a tabletop. And we're going to find ourselves in back on our backs. Yep, back onto your back. If you have a bolster and you want to recline back over the bolster for a nice heart opener, you can do that. Just make sure your sits bones stay on the ground when you recline back. If you want to do a little bit of a deeper chest opener, you can take the blocks. You can take one behind you at its second height, and then one behind that at its third height, and you'll recline back onto that. Hopefully that block meets right where the shoulder blades meet, and then the head will be supported by the block behind that. Arms open up to your sides, chest is really open. Finding whatever your final relaxation is for today. Today we did a bit of self-exploration, discovering the body, what works for our bodies. I didn't give any specific poses. I gave a lot of variations today. And it's really important that we know how to tune into that and know when we need to lay off a certain pose for that day. Or maybe push a little further on that day. But we'll only begin to learn that kind of stuff if we explore that kind of stuff on our mat. We let our bodies intuitively move us. So wherever you're at, just take a few cleansing breaths, a nice deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, release out the mouth. Really letting go, relaxing, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, release out the mouth. And one more like that. Exhale, release out the mouth. And no matter what pose you're in, we're going to go ahead and start up at the top of the head, we're just going to tune in and notice if the crown chakra area, the eyebrows, if that feels relaxed or tense. And seeing if we can create a little bit more relaxation or release there, just by tuning into it. And move down to the jaw. Let the bottom half of the jaw drop away from the top half, releasing any tension there. Allowing the throat to relax, if there's any tension being held there. The shoulders, nice and relaxed, drop away from the ears. Chest is open. Palms are facing up, and the arms are nice and heavy. I'm very aware of gravity under them. Your stomach muscles are completely relaxed. And maybe you allow them to drop towards the ground. The hips, nice and heavy and relaxed. Your low back, your sacrum, anchored to the ground, if possible, in your pose. Your legs are nice and heavy. You're just tuning into your breath and noticing the pace of the breath, how it's moving organically through the body. And seeing if you can allow each one of your exhales to drift you a little bit deeper into a state of relaxation and stillness. Slowly begin to bring your mind back into the space. Maybe bring some movement to the fingers and toes. You can also choose to stay there if you'd like, but if you want to close your practice with me, eventually bend the knees. Roll yourself over to one side, pausing in the fetal position for a moment. Taking time to send gratitude to the body, to the mind, and to the spirit. Eventually, you'll press yourself up to a comfortable seated position, allowing your head to be the last thing to come up. Spine is nice and tall, shoulders are relaxed. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Palms come to prayer. And exhale down to the heart center. And thank you for sharing your time and energy with me this morning. May we walk through the rest of our week with an open mind and an open heart, realizing that our true power lies in the present moment. Namaste.